Texas has a witch. Just one? I don't know. Maybe there's others, but I guess we're focusing on one here. So, what is this witch up to? Let's find out here with the IMDb plot. A witch is said to kill trespassers in Jacksonville forest. When Jason Strickland vanishes there, his sister Piper and 3 friends venture in to find him. It's your brother, but bad idea. I want cops to do it. They're not going to do it, and they're not doing it for a reason. And yeah, going and looking for someone where there's a witch is not a good idea. Anyway, so yeah, the Texas Witch. This film was recently sent to me. So this is going to be a screener review. So kind of disclaim that off the top here. And we'll be posting something on Promote Horror briefly about it as well. And I will try to, once I have that link, include that down below as well. So you guys can get a little bit of information on the film. It seems like this one might be headed towards a streaming service. That would just seems the way it's going. So if I have further information on that, I'll definitely share that as well. But definitely a place for you guys to look out for. So yeah, as for the movie itself, that's kind of set up as what it says. Early on, we do get to meet the brother and his girlfriend, and we get this scene at the beginning, of course, where bad things happen to them. They're out there, taking the time to themselves and doing their thing. And obviously they know that maybe they shouldn't be in this area, and they know a little bit about the witch and so forth. But he doesn't seem too concerned. But, when they hear a sound or two and the girlfriend's a little freaked out, but it's okay until it's not okay. And yeah, bad stuff happens, obviously. And then we obviously get introduced to the sister here. And, she's concerned. She's trying to get police involved, but they really don't have an interest of going out there into the forest because they know better. Apparently, lots of people have been disappearing, and she's obviously that's kind of put a strain on relationship with her boyfriend and her best friend here, until she ultimately decides, she has no other choice but to go look for her brother. And, because no one else is going to do it if she doesn't do it. So, she takes her best friend and her boyfriend with her. And then, her friend's boyfriend goes. And then her boyfriend goes. So, the 2 boyfriends here and 2 girls here, or 2 women are going to go off here into the forest and search for her brother. And so we get a little bit of that in the beginning where they're gonna go, they make a stop, see her friend's boyfriend kind of rubs people wrong generally, so not he doesn't become the biggest fan of everybody else. So you kind of get that in the mix, and you would get see a little bit about her and how with her brother missing, that's kind of held her down and so forth, and the struggle that she's gone through since he's been missing. As they kind of get to the forest and kind of get settled in, her boyfriend is seems a little bit well off to take care of himself and so forth. Out there, so he kind of is leading the charge a little bit, as they're out there. So we get some of that early on, and then the audience may get a sprinkle of the witch, and that it's eventually coming out there, until it becomes clear to them that the witch is there, and things are going to not work out well here. So that's kind of the basics of the story here. I hate to say it, but it being a horror fan and so forth, as you're watching this, you can't avoid not thinking Blair Witch in your mind. this is not found footage. There, it's not shot in that way. It's shot regularly, so it's not a found footage film. But just the fact that you have a bunch of people here out in the woods, and some weird stuff is going to start happening here, and that it's because of a witch. You can't go without thinking Blair Witch. It's obviously unfair to do that. This is obviously a smaller film, and so forth. And although I know the Blair Witch wasn't not supposed to be the huge hit that it became, but this is I don't think they did this with any intention of trying to do anything else but their movie here. But as a horror fan, you just can't not think about it. But I try. It's not fair to really make that comparison, so we'll try. But anyway, yeah. So the witch is there. We're going to learn more about her as the film goes on. You will get a little bit of backstory, both verbally and then in a scene moment there, to learn a little bit about the witch. But really, I think that the most important thing is what is the witch eventually going to do to them. I think that's the real horror here, and that's kind of why you guys are watching. Obviously, we also kind of learned from Blair Witch, and not one in comparison, but these people are just doomed. They're pretty much doomed, from the start. Especially, I think, once you see the witch kill the other girl's boyfriend. If I'm not mistaken, he was the first one to die. Once you kind of see that play out, you definitely are for sure know that they're doomed. We're not going to get that nice explanation where if you do this, that, and that. And the other thing, the witch will just go away and you will escape the forest and it'll be a happily ever after. That's not the movie, and that's not happening here. I think, speaking of that boyfriend's death, I thought it was a good death for him. It made kind of sense. I thought they executed it pretty well. So no complaints there. Again, it is a witch movie, so while we do maybe see a little bit of blood and guts, a little bit, it's not a slasher, so the film is not leaning on that. Obviously, they're going to be leaning on maybe with a few scares. I don't think they're heavily trying to jump scare you, but there might be a moment or two that they might try to keep you on your toes. But basically, a lot of it is then the suspense and the tension of the moment. And, once the group kind of knows that they are probably doomed to, or it's going to be hard for them to escape, and they might not escape, basically as they try to run around the woods and escape and just can't figure it out. The movie kind of leans heavily on the trying to get the tension of that up before more deaths are going to kind of take place. I thought while you don't really get to see it, I thought the other her friend's death was interesting in the way that kind of played out. I liked the I guess the visuals of that. But yeah, I think that is where it is. Like I said, we would learn some about the witch, but it is not where we're getting a tremendous viewpoint of the witch. It is a lot about the sister here and trying to find her brother, and that will also play in a role, obviously, of what's going on. So this witch is evil and is going to mess with them in a way. So I think if you're into maybe the witch movies and so forth, this one might not be a bad one to turn on and give a try. I think obviously you're going to maybe have to wait till the back half of the film where really kind of kicks into the gear of the witch coming for them. It is an hour and 40 minutes approximately. So, you do have to get a little bit through that early on stage where we learn the relationships of this group of people here and get them settled into the forest before the bad stuff starts going on. But I think it ends up being okay. And as far as where it ends and how it ends, I think even with the Blair Witch, where it ends, some people really liked it. Some people complained about, whether you liked how it ended, how this one ends or not, might play a role in it. I kind of had a sneaky suspicion that maybe this one was going to end kind of in this manner. So, not a total shocker. I don't know if I'm totally in favor of kind of which movies kind of ending in this way, and kind of reminds me also of another movie. I won't, it's just a little bit different in its way, but kind of reminded me of that as well, or that kind of ending. Maybe so. I might not be the biggest particular fan of that, but it is not that it doesn't fit what's happening here. It doesn't fit at all. So I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna give it 2 pools of blood. Like I said, I think it will be fine on a streaming service here, and certainly it's as good as some of the other stuff that's available there. So I think again if you're looking for which movie and something maybe similar to Blair Witch, obviously not in kind of going that direction, but similar, giving you some similar stuff. This might be one that you guys want to check out. And again, if we get further information about where this kind of lands and where you guys can kind of find it, I will try to make sure that that's included down below so that you guys can kind of check this out. So that again is two pools of blood out of 5. So with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and video. Certainly tons of video reviews for a while now, so you can like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody wants you to do. If not, Twitter, Facebook information down below, so you can reach out to me there. When you eventually see this movie, if you do, feel free to share some thoughts, and definitely in the comments section. Or again, if you guys have a film like they did that you want me to watch and review, please let me know, and we'll see if we can work that out. So with that, I guess I'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.